Hello and welcome, everybody out there in Union Arena Land. We are joined today by the Noblejimjam, who came in fifth place at Orlando Regionals, piloting, you guessed it, Purple Saito. Which,
Surprise.
yes, it is the best counter to the best deck in the format. But, anyways, congratulations, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So you looked at the format, and clearly you had a lot of insight, as many other people did, into what was happening, and you decided to register this deck. Can you walk me through your thought process as to why you chose this deck, and was there any other contenders for a deck that you wanted to take instead?
So, this was a deck that, I guess a little backstory was that after Dallas Regionals, I played Roy. I even thought about playing Roy kind of moving into this, but one of my good friends, George, he bought a case and then was like selling like Saito. I actually didn't even know it was meta in Japan at the time, like seriously. And I was like, oh, Saito's cool. He's got the sword. And then I was just like playing the deck, and my other buddy, Jonathan, was testing with me at first, and I was losing to 10 swords. And I was just like, man, this maybe I suck. So I just kept playing, kept practicing, realizing actually this deck is really good, especially when you start establishing a 2/6 drops to the back row, and then you have like 5+ swingers, you have 5+ attackers. But yeah, I just kind of started getting the practice in, then realizing, oh, it is really good. And then I was just like, I'm just going to keep practicing with this deck moving into Orlando.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you put in the reps for it, and obviously that paid off for you. I mean, top 5 finish is tremendous. Anything in the top 16 is amazing. 32 even, let's be honest. Those are just like pairings compared to the 12th through 16th. But yeah, that is
Right.
amazing. So your deck is the stock version of the deck. Have you attempted any of these other random iterations that you've seen from other Saito players? Why did you go with the stock version of the deck?
So initially, like I was actually tinkering with with the early version, like when I first picked it up. So it wasn't the stock. I was trying to mess with Sanosuke in the build, but there wasn't really anything to target with his abilities when played, and I didn't
That's
really want to
the
play
blow
like
up a site card, I believe.
yeah. So
Okay.
when played, you pay an additional AP to blow up a site, but there
Oh,
wasn't
you
really
pay an
anything
AP
viable.
for. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so. It's just it's I don't know. It just didn't seem great. And like, don't get me wrong, vanilla 4Ks are fine, but like and the active trigger is not bad, but I kind of was starting. I just leaned more towards the 2 drop side or the cost as 2 copies, and it just felt fine. It wasn't the best choice. Like I saw a lot of like Saito players playing like Yumi. I think the
Hmm.
1 drop for 10 swords. I never really tried it. I just wasn't a fan of the draw discard and draw. Like I feel like if you're just going to do that, play a 4K body. Just play a bruiser at that point. Um, and I think people play EG, but I think it's kind of a trap. So I just didn't really want to generate energy when you regenerate so much energy in the stockpile list. Like it just seems too good not to do. So like I said, I kind of went generic, but I hadn't been practicing so much with the normal list. It didn't really feel like I needed to edit anything.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it sounds to me like this deck is just one of those decks that even on the stockpile, it is going to be consistent. It's going to be powerful, and that is the turning point for a deck like this. It doesn't generate card advantage necessarily, but it
Yeah.
absolutely generates card consistency, unlike anything else that we have in our format, except
Yeah.
maybe Green Bleach. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Green Bleach was something, right? Like, I
yeah.
mean, that deck just has its. I mean, that's also, like you said, is a consistent deck. Super, super annoying. Is very consistent. I'll tell you about that later.
So, talking about annoying, what did your matchups look like as you were going through the event? What decks did you run into? How did they go? Just walk me through all of it.
So yeah, so like, it was a total of 8 rounds. And so I actually round one, funny enough, there was 2 friendly fires that I had to go through.
Oh,
I'm sure you know which of the two are they are, but one of them happened to be her name's Taylor, and she was on Esper Sisters. So it was just like out of 300 plus people, like literally I had to start off the day with this. So she's on Esper Sisters. Now, mind you, she's like she was still learning the deck. I think I don't know if that was just her preference or what, but like she was just definitely nervous. But it was definitely like still though. If I had went up against a, like, no offense to her, like went up against a very good Asper Sisters player, like one of our local players is insane with that deck. Like Saito can lose,
yeah.
so I still had to respect the deck regardless. And her version was a little bit different. Hers was on I think it's the 5 cost AP2 Saitama. I think that's the stat line on that one.
The
The
Saitama
NGS.
Hybrid Sisters instead of.
He-
Okay.
yeah, the hybrid package. And but like I wasn't too familiar with that package per se. But it's still Esper Sisters does Esper Sisters things.
Right.
So that was a pretty like quick win. Can't remember the full details, but basically it was just like I started to play my raids, my 4-2s, and like that was a pretty quick win. Round two, I was actually up against Blue Sao, Blue Kirito. So that was my round two.
Oh, how did those go?
And it was honestly my opponent, like great guy, like really nice, but like he didn't see his Asuna Kirito setup. Like I think he kind of fumbled in the beginning. I know he like lost a searcher really quickly off of life, and like he did get two raids. One was Asuna, one was Kirito, but he didn't really see like the consistency that the deck normally does have. But
Mm.
some of the things that I know that deck can happen to have because I've play tested with one of my friends, Thomas. He plays that deck quite a bit. He it's just sometimes it can fumble on the consistency factor. So like by the time I think it was like by turn four, turn five, he was down to two life, and the guy just scooped. It was just very much one of those like we both looked at each other. We were like, yeah, and I was at six life, I think, maybe five, but like it was just like there was no way to come back from this, right? Um, then round three, I went up against Roy. Um,
Ooh.
Funny enough, I actually hadn't practiced too much against Roy with Saito because I'm the only Roy player in the locals, well, more so than anything. So like I kind of knew what to expect, but my opponent, I think he played Roy and then played Riza, but he only had one Roy Ray target. So on the following turn, I just dropped two six cost Saitos in the back line and just went snipe snipe. You know, attacked with like two other characters in my front line, and he was down to three. He found another Roy to raid onto. Also, because he starved himself out of Roy targets, I don't know if that was just his hand or what. He had to play a double energy Riza without value, and that kind of just threw him away in the game. So
Mm.
it was really quick. Then round four, excuse me, is I was up against Red Kenshin. So this was the only Red Kenshin I played the entire tournament.
Wow,
Um,
unfortunate.
yeah, I know it was kind of crazy. I thought it was going up against like three plus whatever.
Yeah.
So, but shout out to King Tyrus, and he's actually from Georgia. I think it was Columbus. Cool cat, and also he was like decked out in like Kenshin like cosplay. So I was like, I could even be like, what? I
That
wonder if
guy.
he's
Okay, I heard about him.
yeah. But he was a really good player. But like he started off really strong. So I won the dice roll, and I think as a Saito player, um, you want to go first. That's just my take on it because you want these Kenshin player to lose hand sides, especially so they can discard less off of their abilities.
Hmm.
Um, that's just my take on that. But like he played it really well. He played aggressively, but I believe one of the cards off of life was a six cost. Yeah, so I had a six cost Saito off of life. I had the energy to raid on top of it, so I raided defensively off of that card. So I did that to save my life, and I sometimes will raid the six cost as a defensive character because sometimes I'd rather just save it up, especially against aggro, because you want to make sure you're as defensive as possible. So I followed up with that, and then next turn, I think it was like four cards left in hand, a 4-2 Kenshin, the another six cost Saito, and two specials. And he had already declared to protect a Kenshin. It was the raid one with Kairu's tax effect. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to pop these two, discard a card from hand, and just keep the pressure going because you still have to respect any Kenshin that hits the board. So it was at this point, it was like I think I was like down to five, and it just played double blockers and four drops to the front row, and he had nothing to do. Oh, and on top of that, prior to the turn I double specials, I just played a vanilla raid, like no raid target, just vanilla to the front row, because I just needed any body to make sure that he could not come back around. So I wanted to control the board state. So he was just I just started kind of in a way starved him out of the game.
Right.
But that was a really good game, and even like said, "Oh, you were the first player within the tournament that put him down." Like I think it was two or three life. And I was just like, "Let's go!"
We take those.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's that, and we took our lunch break, so we chilled out. And then this is where the latter half of the tournament got pretty funny. So from round five through round seven, it was green Toshi, green Toshi, and green Toshi. So I hit the triple sevens of Toshi. I kid you not,
Whew.
this actually happened. So
Toshi, Toshi,
like
Toshi. Just
it was like I practiced with Thomas, so like we've gone back and forth with like I don't know his list like 100% until recently. So I was like, okay, well, Toshi does Toshi things with Kipachi, So I was like, I have an idea. So round five, I went up against Josh, cool dude. I actually lost to his friend in Dallas, so I was just like, oh, These are the Boston Bros. Good shout out to them. And that match was pretty good. It was pretty grindy. I actually won the dice roll and went first. Um, so this is something I didn't know playing the deck because I played it, but like I realized something is that with Toshi, you do not want to give them second. And the only reason I say that, this is just my take, is they want their affinity resources out as fast as possible.
Yes.
And this comes to mind later on with my next opponent. So like with Josh, it was a very good game, very grindy game. He was also on, I don't know the character's name, but he's a double energy unit when you have your core cards at like 3 or more. So he produces double energy. He's like a double energy unit. And I don't know if I like that card in that list. It was might have been a preference. Maybe it was very good if you want to play more like consistent. I'm not sure, but I feel like that kind of like the crackback of losing units as I'm like going into my 4K bodies into like snipe. Like maybe that wasn't. I don't know. That's just my take. Like it just slowed it down a bit, but I was able to get the win on that.
Mhm.
Then round 5, I played against Ming, who went 4th place in the tournament. I think prior to the 8th round, he was like second or going up against the first place Kenshin player.
Mhm.
So
Shout out
that
Ming. I
was
love that guy. He is incredible at this game.
yeah. I don't know much. I know that he's a Rumble Rama player as far as I'm aware.
Rama
Um,
Rama D3 just practices nonstop. Yeah, he's
yeah,
insane at the game. He'll play any deck expertly.
I can tell. So like I was very much like we were. It was kind of there was also like a weird moment happened in a tournament where they were trying to about to do a repair, and I was like, hmm. So we both stared at each other. We just kind of like made some like small chit chat. Then they're like, okay, everything's good. So we went back to actually playing the game that we were about to let your prepared for.
Yeah.
Sorry, and yeah, I mean, we shuffled, we cut, and I had the worst hand, dude. Like as a Saito player, you need like that consistency, right? Because all
Hmm.
decks want it. But like, man, I can tell you right now, I'll remember that hand to the day I die. 2-0 Kenshins,
Hmm.
3 double energy Kenshin, a double energy Kenshin, and a 4-drop raid Saito. And that hand doesn't sound like terrible because I can have a curve, but like there's no 1-drop, there's no 4-drop with Osaito, there's no 2-drop Saito, so there's no interaction in the board, right?
It just
Especially against
plays
a
the
Toshi
game, but it's
player.
playing a fair game. That's not what Saito
Yeah,
does.
exactly. Ironically, it's too fair. So it's like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and like even my 0-drops were giving me like really bad effects. So I did have to push up, and he was already dropping his Kenpachi, and I mean, there was a point where I had like 2 0-drop pensions, and I he hit an active trigger, so I was able to put 1 to 5K. And this is where I blundered, and I was like, man, this is going to be rough. And I accidentally blocked a 5K into his 5K Kenpachi, the 4-drop that generates 1K, because
Hmm.
I forgot it does that. And I'll admit that because I was just like doing this for a minute. I'm like, oh, brother, what am I doing? And then Ming looked at me and he was like, you're going to let die, right? It's like, yeah. So I just made a really bad misplay, but I was already so far behind on board state, especially for him, where like him going second was relevant, right? With where like he was able to put like I think it was like a double energy, then AP restand, and just go crazy. And I just looked at it, and I'm like, oh no, this is no bueno. So I just like I said, I was one of those I couldn't come back from. I lost a unit that could have saved me maybe a turn, but I was like I said too far behind, so I lost the game. So it was kind of bittersweet, but like at the same time, I'll take it for what it is. First loss of the day, especially for Ming. He's a very good player. I'll take, very like it was just one of those like, gotta take it. We gotta take the L's. So that was the whole outcome on that. Um, and then round 7 was another friendly fire, which was my buddy Thomas. And we were like outside. We were already talking about like maybe we might play against each other, maybe we won't. We'll see because our pairings are so close with each other. And sure enough, like we got paired up, like me and Antihero.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, like, I don't want to do this right now. But like, it was even funnier because I was just like, dude, you want to just like hold hands and walk over to a table, like just like prance around because it's just like we're just like it's friendly fire. We're so late into the tournament. I
It's
don't
the
really care at
worst
the
when
time.
it's that late. It's just.
Yeah, it's just like, man, if it was like round 8 and it was like,
Mhm.
man, it's like buddy to buddy combat, we're still gonna get something out of this. But so like mid to late, it was like, dude, this is gonna be rough for the both of us.
Right.
But I actually, since unfortunately I did have the knowledge of what Thomas was playing, I won the dice roll and opted for second because I was like
Yeah.
knowing that, and like so it sounds unfortunate, but I was like got to play it out with second, bada bing, bada boom. And like Thomas's hand was a little slow. I think I'm sure he elaborated a little bit further into it, but like he had played I think it was like a 4-drop Kenpachi, then raid on top of it, taking 2 life cards. And I can't remember the relevancy of what they were, but my hand was pretty much in a position where I could still play a card special and to see what he wants to do with the said Kenpachi because he raid on top of the double energy 4-drop. So see if he wanted to discard or leave the whole thing behind because I already had a 6-drop waiting for the Kenpachi to snipe it off the board because that was his only unit. So it was very much just like you kind of choose your path on the road because it's going to hurt either way. Um, but we that kind of established just like I was able to kind of steamroll that like game in itself.
Yeah, I come from
And
playing Magic, and we call that garbage time. Where like build your own adventure. How am I going to win? It's garbage time. I've already won. I just decide how. Like,
yeah, no, I came from Magic too, especially like Eldrazi Winter, all that jazz. I
yeah,
know the whole spiel. Yeah, and then like freaking round 8, I was on the Saito mirror. So the mirror was that was had the only one mirror. So really, honestly, like for running Kenshin, I only played against red once, purple once. So I kind of had like a weird like it was a diverse in a weird way, but like a lot of Toshis somewhere in the halfway point. So I was kind of like I was like kind of lucky, but I don't know. It was a very strange 8-round tournament, especially the Toshi like catalog. But I played against excuse me, I played against the there, and shout out to Gilded Grimoire or Kenny from Ohio. Like he was super cool. Also from he also another Magic player. So we chatted and like we were just like we rolled. I think he won the dice roll and he opted to give me second. So the mirror match is kind of weird because it is very life dependent. I practiced with my friend Maxime who played Saito at the tournament, and like I was honestly nervous because if the Saito player gets some really insane life, like even a special or special, you're just cooked. And if they are the aggressor, like it's pretty much one of those like I have to be aggro as a deck setting up for like the 4 energy, 6 energy range. You just need to be as aggressive as possible. And thankfully, my opening hand against the 8-round opponent against Kenny was like basically like a flourish of this like 2-drop, 1-drop, 1-drop, 000. And I was like, this is amazing. Like this is all I can ask for because then I can sculpt my hand with the 1-drop. So with the 2 drops, I could even potentially bounce the 1-drop if I wanted to regain value. But I was able to get my 4 drops off of the searches, everything else. And with him, I know he pushed a double energy Kenshin, and also particularly for his matchup, like or for his list, he was playing the boat, the Ironclad, I think Rengoku, no, it's like Ironclad Warship or something. I don't remember the name,
yeah,
but
yeah. The boat.
I actually asked him about that card later on after the match because he seemed to like it, and because being able to sideline it to draw 2 is pretty good value.
Yeah,
But yeah. So like the match went pretty swift. As me just pushing units, getting my life was honestly pretty goaded at this point. Like color card, bring back a 2,500 unit, 6 cost, put it into my hand, and he was ready to set up next turn like 3 Saitos against me. So I was just able to be very fortunate to be able to push like as fast as I did. But yeah, I mean that was the general gist of the whole tournament. Like going finishing up round 8 with the mirror, which was hilarious to me. But yeah, being able to claim round 5th place was really cool.
yeah. That's fantastic. I mean, your experience sounds a lot like the majority of the people I've interviewed thus far.
Yeah,
Zenryo and Antihero are the only two I've talked to that they were like, yeah, I ran into Purple Kenshin 3 times and Red Kenshin 2 times or 3 times. And I feel
right.
like if you were in a position of playing Purple Kenshin, you wanted to see all those Red Kenshins, but it speaks to the power of the deck that you can run into the mirror and against one of its worst matchups, right? Toshi, and still be able to build your own strong matchup in the game, given your dice rolls and things like that. So,
Yeah, I reference a lot on dice roll, particularly because there is moments where even if you think you're the winning player in that position, the power of 2 units versus one is very relevant.
mhm.
Like learning the green bleach, the Katoshi deck now, if I ever see that deck again, and I may want to go second, you never know, because affinity based decks are really much wanting to get that value on
Yes,
board as fast as possible.
absolutely. Yeah. So, nice. This sounds like an amazing setup. Congratulations yet again for placing so well. If you were going to jump into a time machine, right, and
Mhm.
change something about the deck, knowing what you had to play against through the entire tournament, is there any changes you would make to the deck, or do you feel like this is the perfect list for you?
Um, Yeah, this would probably be the perfect list. I mean, there's like kind of no way for me to think of going back. Um, there's a possibility of playing Yumi, right? Draw one or draw one discard, right? Those are
Right.
great effects, and the draw trigger is great. But I mean, I'm kind of more of like mid range in the sense like people do want to go lower on their curve, but I want to see like a card that has value every single turn. This might sound kind of weird, but this deck kind of reminds me of like Jund mid range, where every card does something with utility, and that's a match reference if you
I
don't
get it.
watch it.
Yeah, I
But
love me some
yeah,
Jund.
yeah, Jund is fun. I played Rakdos back in the day, but yeah. So like this was one of those. Every card does something, and it provides with value every time it enters the board. Um, there's nothing you can really cut. I think like the 4/1 is kind of one of those like people are going to play at least one as a minimum. It's a raid target
Yeah.
plus the value of getting the draw and freezing, potentially bouncing it off of the 2,500 was is very good, right? I've done it plenty of times. I even kind of almost did it in the Roy matchup where I could have opted to do it, but sometimes you just need the blocker, and that forces your opponent to like kill it if they need to, or kill the 2,500. Like sometimes each card does something respectively powerful. Double energy Saito, for instance, super strong. Even the double energy uh, tension, or yes, so the attention, the one that you pitch to give it plus 1,000 BB for the turn. That card comes up quite a bit more than you think. At first, I was like, it's a generic whatever, but a 4K like bruiser is still good. So like I said, there's nothing that I really want to cut. Like I said, it's like Sinosuke, and I know that I think I saw one of the videos where someone was expecting the what's the matchup for the I forgot his name. It was the blue JJK
Sukuna?
deck. Yeah, Sukuna, yeah, for the shrine.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I've actually played against the deck. I hadn't played it prior to the searcher coming in, and
Yeah.
it honestly Saito feels fine against the matchup. It doesn't really need it.
Yeah.
The
They
active
high roll
trigger,
or
like
they don't. That's all Sukuna is. It high rolls or it
that,
doesn't.
that's all it is. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, they have the fingers, that's cool. I guess I'm gonna survive somehow, maybe. But I don't think they need it. I think the stock list is still very good. I do like the spice that people do add into the deck because variety is a spice of life, right? But
Yep.
I kind of like where the deck is at right now.
Absolutely. And yeah, clearly it works out perfectly for you. So, last question I would like to go over before we get into the shout out stage.
But yeah,
You you have a win into Natties. I
yeah.
assume you're going.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Me and Antihero Thomas were talking about it. He's just like, we got to get the flight, we got to get
Yes.
the stuff, and I'm like, I just got back. I want to chill for a few
Yeah,
days,
let me
real
sit
quick.
down. Let me sit down.
Yeah,
All right, so you're going to Natties. We're going to have
yeah,
SAO Volume 2, we're going to have Demon Slayer Volume 2, and we're going to have Evangelion dropping.
yeah.
How do you feel Saito will be positioned in a meta, assuming we get full power of those IPs? I'm of the belief Songs is getting hit. Like, if it comes to NA full power, GG. Like, but
Yeah.
assume
Uh,
full power, how do you feel Saito will be into that meta?
so like, I'm gonna put it like this: is that I think Saito, regardless of where it feels it's in the meta currently, like whether it's Purple Songs or Evangelion. Like I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, that deck is washed," or the deck doesn't have any value anymore. But you still got to respect the deck. It still has a consistent game plan, and it's still going to cause people headaches. So it's not going to still going to. It might have its worst matchups, but I think if you have the hands that allow you to push for aggro or be able to be like the volume of like strength versus their board state, I think it's good. Frankly, I haven't looked enough on Purple SAO, like looked at the deck list or looked up anything. Evangelion is pretty unknown to me. I know Purple is a juggernaut, and Red and Yellow's follow behind in terms of the decks that are really good. Um, but I think Saito will do okay. I don't think it'll be amazing, but I think it'll be fine if you choose to bring it to like a tournament setting.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think that covers just about everything I wanted to talk to you about. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really do appreciate it. And congratulations yet again. Fifth place, ain't nothing to sneeze at. We love it.
Yeah,
And shout outs time. Shout out your LGS or anybody else you would like to.
I'm gonna shout out everybody I know right now. No,
Yeah, go for
but
it.
But no, I think for like so first of all like I wrote all this down as you can tell I'm like looking down here, but I got
You're good.
Thomas, Jacob, and Maxime. So these are the guys I've been like playing UA with locally for like a while now. I started with Demon Slayer, but we all started to get really invested in this game, almost kind of like I don't know, it was like a fever. Like we just all started like going crazy with this game, and it's been really fun to practice, play every new rare battle format or play every new one. like awesome people, awesome guys to play with. I was actually really happy for Jacob because he was actually about to drop the game, and then he went 63rd, and he was like loving the game again. So really happy for that. Really happy for him. I mean, and then for stores, TCF Gaming Arena in McDonough, Georgia. Super awesome place. We're still trying to grow UA scene there, but great players. Augie's in Stone Mountain, great store. Cam's awesome. Check him out. And Encore Collectibles, which I'm actually going to later today. Those guys are actually a vendor store in the Stone Mountain area. But awesome
Nice.
guys, super cool dudes. I like Brian's a beast. Like, got to go for them. And so I like to go out of town sometimes to play. Like I'll go drive 2 hours out for UA. So shout out. I'm kind of wild, but
Yeah,
like
we don't have a
I'll
problem. It's okay. We don't have a problem.
it,
Continue.
right, no problems, no problems.
Yeah,
But shout out to yeah,
I can
but
smile.
shout out to I know, right? But shout out to the Augusta players over there. Mary and Aaron played at the regionals Sunday. Like great players, great people, and ABX Comics. And there's also Cardboard Castle. Those guys are like always have a good UA scene, and they're like just fantastic people on that side of the state.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much for shouting all of them out. And thank you so much for doing this, everyone. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next interview. Goodbye.